Good evening, good day, Diego. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and week. This is chapter 1 from the previous video. We did that. You can check the previous video and you're gonna see I went through everything. And now we are talking about chapter 2. I'm gonna zoom in because I can't see a thing. Dawn is like the beginning of the day, broke over Newtown prison. Angus stretched, yawned, and half opened his eyes. Okay, so I feel much better now. I think that little nap did me good. He stood up and looked for his belt, but for some reason it wasn't on the floor, where he had dropped it. So he dropped it. He yawned again and thought about, there is a H here, T-H-O-U-G-H-T, about going back to sleep. But then, to his surprise, he suddenly saw his belt hanging on a key, which was in the lock of the open door of cell 269. So, hanging here. Okay, what did it do? I don't know. So the bell hanging on the key, which was in the lock of the open door of the cell 269. Angus blinked twice. Something's wrong here. But what is it? Well, somebody escaped. Gradually, shockingly, horrifyingly, the awful truth dawned on him. When Angus had at last worked out what had happened, he rushed down the corridor and ran up the steps to the prison's governor's office. Be careful. With his heart to understand the situation, he ran really fast to talk to the governor. With his heart pounding, he banged on the door. Pow, pow, pow. Governor, let me in. Okay. Sir Gerald Prescott was sitting at his desk to be seated at. Okay, his desk reading the Times. Come in, the door's open. Angus rushed in, his red face covered with sweat. I think that's like that. What's the matter, Macpherson? You look a bit upset. It's Frederick Carruthers. He has broken out of his cell and ran away. He has run. So remember, this is a past participle. It's not a simple past here. He ran and he has run away. And it was all my fault. Now calm down and go through the whole story right from the start. Well, sir. So Angus sat down and took a deep breath. Well, sir, last night I stretched out on a wooden bench near cells 269. I took off my belt and dropped it onto the floor. Then I nodded off for a few minutes. So they repeat a lot of this stuff from the first chapter. While I was asleep, Carruthers stretched out his hand, picked up the belt, and took off one of the keys, and he opened his cell and slipped out through the side door. But that's terrible. Sir Gerald tore to tear up, like destroyed the newspaper, his Times, and burst into tears. Angus took a handkerchief. A handkerchief is a tissue to blow your nose, to clean up your nose, out of his pocket and handed it to Sir Gerald. Now, sir, there is no need to cry. It wasn't your fault that Carruthers escaped. I shouldn't have taken off my belt and nodded off like that. But don't worry, Governor, I'll make up for it. I'll find a solution. We can also say something else, like I'll make it up to you. Okay. I'll give up my lunch break and go out and look for him and find out where he is. Let me just zoom out here. So that is your exercise, because you need to make this kind of memory effort okay? And that's going to be two similar exercises. I'm just going through the explanations. Dawn can be a noun. Dawn broke over Newtown prison. And also a verb. The truth, they used it also as a verb, dawned on him. There are many phrasal verbs with look. Among the most common are to look for, to try to find, to look at, to see, to look at something, to see, examine, to look after, to take care of. Sorry. He stood up and looked for his key. I looked at the check. My head was spinning. Maybe you went to the restaurant and it was super expensive. She looks after sick children. She takes care of them. To work something out. Let's work something out. Let's work this out. To solve a problem, a puzzle, mystery. Let's find a solution. That's what it means. To let in, to allow to enter, is the opposite to let out, to allow to leave. Governor, governor, let me in, let me in. When he came to the prison gates, he knocked on the front door and the night guard let him in. There was no need for you to run off like that. They were going to let you out anyway. Note the difference between to sit at the desk, for instance, to sit back, to sit down, to sit in, and to sit up. Sir Gerald was sitting at his desk reading the Times. Frederick sat back and just watched the volcano erupt. Sitting back, sat back. It's like looking at something, you can also sit back on the couch, You're just paying attention to something. You're looking at something. Angus sat down and took a deep breath. You need to sit. Okay, I need to sit. I need to take a deep breath to relax a bit here. Sat down is to sit on a chair, basically. He was sitting in a Rolls Royce driven by the wife of the governor of the prison he had just escaped from. Oh, we are seeing the future of the story here. He was so ill, so sick, that he couldn't sit up in bed properly. So he was laying down on the bed, but he couldn't sit up, stand up. Well, stand up, no, it's sit up, it's like you sit on your bed. To calm down, to relax, now calm down and go through the whole story right from the start. By the time they arrived at the outskirts of Birmingham, Lady Prescott had calmed down a little, and Frederick was feeling a bit more relaxed. To make up for something, to compensate for something. I'll make up for it. I'll give up my lunch break and go out and look for him and found out where he is. And now there was so much to say, so much to do, so much lost time to make up for. Not easy to understand. It's like, imagine the situation, you forgot your wife's birthday. She's angry, and you can be like, I'll make it up for you. Meaning I'll find a way to make you happy again. Okay? Let's go to the restaurant, let's do that. Okay? So she can calm down. Like, make it up is, trying to find a way to please this person. Let me see if I can give you another. I like word reference. You may not have the translation in Portuguese, and I don't want you to go through this stuff because it's too easy. And I would say just English. So you can also have the dictionary. Okay, not French. Just English definition. Okay. Not makeup. Makeup for. That's not gonna be it. Because it's a phrasal verb, so yeah. Ah, here. Make out, make off, make over, make up. Yeah, that's one way. To repay, in a sense, compensate, perhaps $500 will make up for your trouble. Like compensate for all the trouble I caused. Okay? To settle, make like, yeah, it's not perfect. So, yeah, it's not perfect. But it's like, I like this definition, it's more like to compensate. Let me make it up for you. That means let me find a compensation for the trouble I caused, I provoked. So you forgot your wife's birthday, she's not happy, so you need to find something to compensate for the problems and the pain you caused. Okay? So that's just one example, of course. So, if you have a dictionary, let's get working on, no, I don't care. So, yeah, sometimes it's not really perfect. So, phrasal verbs, English. Sometimes they give you a huge list, which is, this is in French, I don't care. I need to put English, not Anglais. Okay. And we're gonna put make. Make up, that's not what I want. Make up for. That is a good dictionary, actually. Okay. To take the place of something that has been lost or damaged, nothing can make up for the loss of a child. We cannot compensate that. We cannot replace it. Okay. It's not always to replace. Just one way of thinking. Don't be too strict here. Okay. To provide something good so that something bad seems less important. So the good weather made up for the bad organization. He bought her some flowers to make up for being late. That is what I'm trying to say. He bought her some flowers to make up for being late. It's not an easy expression to use, but if you see it in a text, you know it's like to compensate, to replace something bad with something good, okay? Or you forgot something, so you want to be nice, okay? And that's it. That can be an interesting also dictionary to use. So it's macmilliondictionary.com, macmilliondictionary.com. So you can see the stuff here. Okay. Well, let's stop here. We're gonna go through the exercises from chapter 2. Let's see if we have time to do everything. We review a bit what we did on chapter 1, a bit of Collins. Let me check quickly. Get also, we went through that. Let me just pause here. Where are you getting at? What do you imply? What do you mean? To get along with someone is to have a good relationship. To get away, to escape, get by, manage, to cope, to survive. I'll get by. Okay, we're gonna go through this. I found the full list, and that's what we need. Plus, we can also use it in context. Okay, so get on with, get out of, get over, get rid of, get round, get together, get up, give away, etc., etc. So on way more. Okay, so I don't know if it's from this is from. We're gonna go through the whole thing. Okay, those are the most important. So we don't have like 400, but still we have a bunch. Anyway, you have a good evening, a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow at 9:30, because you know what? I have a class right before you, so I'm not going to be able to start earlier. If you come home earlier,